Ladies and gentlemen, sons and daughters, hear me today. You must believe in yourself before the degree, before the opportunity, before the applause and the recognition. Before anything great is ever built in your life, it must first be built in your belief. I don't care how much talent you have. I don't care how many doors you have access to. I don't care if you were born into greatness or rose up from nothing. If you don't believe in yourself, you will disqualify yourself before the race even begins. Understand this, belief is not a bonus, it is a foundation. It is the soil in which destiny takes root. A seed may carry the potential of a tree, but if it is never planted in fertile ground, it will never grow. In the same way, your gifts, your dreams, your ideas, they are seeds. But if they fall into a mind polluted by doubt, by insecurity, by self, hate and second guessing, those seeds will wither before they ever sprout. You may think you need more money, you may think you need more time, you may think you need better connections, but I came to tell you today, what you really need is more belief. You need a conviction deep down in your soul that says, I belong in the room. I have something to offer. I may not be where I want to be, but I have the right to grow. See, people often talk about believing in God, and that's important. But if you believe in God and don't believe in what He put in you, your life will stay small. You will worship with your hands lifted high, but walk through life with your head hanging low, and that is not God's will for you. He didn't bring you into this world to merely survive. He didn't give you life to stay hidden in the shadows of fear. He placed greatness in you and waits for you to believe enough to uncover it. You can't outsource belief. Nobody else can believe for you. You can sit under the best teachers, get inspired by the best speakers, but if you walk out of the room and still don't believe in you, nothing will change. The teacher can pour, but you've got to drink. The mentor can guide, but you've got to walk. The cheerleaders can shout, but you've got to move. Belief is personal. I've seen brilliant people live small because they were afraid to shine. I've seen creative people settle for comfort because they feared criticism. I've seen called people sit in silence because they were waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder and say, "You're next." But let me tell you something. You don't need a tap when God gave you a voice. You don't need permission to start when you were born with purpose. The moment you begin to believe, really believe, is the moment the gears of your destiny begin to turn. Now hear me, belief is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud, belief is stable. Arrogance demands, belief endures. Arrogance is about comparison, belief is about confidence. I'm not talking about puffing up your chest and pretending like you have it all together. I'm talking about that quiet, unshakable knowing that says, I'm here for a reason. I'm not perfect, but I'm equipped. I've been through things, but I'm still standing, and if I'm still here, it means my purpose isn't finished. When you don't believe in yourself, everything around you suffers. Your relationships suffer because you can't receive love when you don't feel worthy of it. Your career suffers because you won't apply, you won't lead, you won't step out. Your spiritual life suffers because you can't receive promises you don't feel qualified for. Your health suffers because you won't make investments in a future you don't see yourself living. But when you start to believe, truly believe, something changes, you walk different, you speak different, you choose different, you think higher, you surround yourself with people who reflect the vision, not the doubt, and let me warn you, belief will cost you. It will cost you your excuses. It will cost you the comfort of staying where you've always been. It will cost you the approval of small minds. When you start believing in yourself, you might outgrow some circles. You might be misunderstood. You might walk alone for a season. But that's the price of greatness. That's the cost of becoming who you really are. You can't take flight with weights tied to your wings. You've got to cut the rope of old thinking, the rope of negative self-talk, the rope of playing small to keep others comfortable. You've got to rise above it, even if your knees shake and your voice trembles, because the truth is, God has already said yes. He's waiting on your belief to agree with His purpose, So today, stop rehearsing your fears and start reciting your faith. Stop doubting your worth and start declaring your value. Stop shrinking back and start showing up. The greatest war you'll ever fight will not be in the streets, in the courtroom, or even in the arena of competition. No, the fiercest battle of your life will be fought silently, daily, and internally. In the battlefield of your mind. Before anything can be won in your circumstances, it must first be won in your mentality. If your thoughts are defeated, your actions will be disarmed. If your inner world is full of fear, anxiety, self-doubt, and discouragement, then everything you attempt externally will be hindered, sabotaged before it ever has a chance to succeed. You can have all the right resources and still fail. You can be connected to the right people, walk into the right rooms, and still be bound by mental chains that keep you from moving forward. That's why success doesn't start with action. It starts with alignment. What you believe, how you think, what you say to yourself when no one else is around, that is where the real war is being won or lost. You may think it's your environment that's holding you back. You may think it's the lack of opportunity. But if we're honest, most people are not imprisoned by their circumstances. They are imprisoned by their thoughts. Thoughts that say, you're not good enough. Thoughts that whisper, why try, you'll fail anyway. Thoughts that echo from childhood, from trauma, from betrayal, you'll never be loved. You're always overlooked. You're just not the one. But today I tell you, you don't have to believe every thought you think. Not every voice that rises up in your mind deserves a seat at the table of your destiny. You've got to take control of your thinking like a general takes command of his army. You must learn to challenge the lies with truth, to push back the darkness with light, and to filter your thoughts through faith and not fear. The mind is like soil. It will grow whatever you plant. If you plant seeds of doubt, you'll reap hesitation. If you plant fear, you'll reap paralysis. If you plant comparison, you'll reap insecurity. But if you plant belief, hope, vision, and identity, you will begin to walk in confidence that is rooted in truth, not in pride, not in hype, but in the deep knowledge that you are more than what you feel. You are greater than what you've been told. Don't underestimate the power of the thoughts you entertain. One single thought can become a belief, and that belief can become a stronghold. That's why it's dangerous to let toxic thoughts live rent free in your mind. The longer they linger, the more they construct narratives, false stories that define how you see yourself, how you relate to others, and how you view your future. Think about it. Some of the most gifted people are the most tormented, not because of what's around them, but because of what's within them. They never took time to heal the mind, to train the thoughts, to detox the soul. They kept showing up, but they kept shutting down. They kept giving to others, but they had nothing left inside. And the truth is, if you don't fight for your mind, no one else will. You've got to get bold. You've got to get intentional. Speak to your thoughts before your thoughts speak. You wake up in the morning and declare, I have a purpose. I am equipped. I am not my past. I am not my failure. I am what God says I am. You've got to wash your mind daily the same way you wash your body, because just as dirt accumulates on your skin, doubt and discouragement will accumulate in your thinking if you don't clean it out with truth. And yes, the attack may come. Yes, the negative thoughts may rise, but you don't have to surrender to them. Just because the thought shows up doesn't mean it deserves your agreement. A lie only has power when you believe it. That's why the real enemy doesn't need to stop you physically. He just needs to convince you mentally that you're already stopped. But I dare you to push back. I dare you to challenge every lie that tells you you're not enough. I dare you to reject the shame that tells you you can't begin again. I dare you to look in the mirror and speak to yourself like you're speaking to someone who's about to change the world. Because you are. If you want to rise, rise in your mind first. If you want to break through your thinking first. If you want to change your life, don't just change your habit. Change your beliefs. You can't build a new life with old thoughts. You can't reach new heights with a mindset that was trained in limitation. So today, make the decision. Decide to fight for your focus. Decide to protect your peace. Decide to feed your faith, because the war is not out there. It's in here. And until you win here, nothing else will last. Doubt is not just an emotion. It's a force. It doesn't simply make you hesitate. It holds you hostage. Doubt is the silent thief of progress. It doesn't have to shout. It doesn't need to push. All it has to do is whisper, "What if you fail?" And suddenly your feet won't move, your hands won't build, your voice won't speak, and your dream won't breathe. Doubt paralyzes. It doesn't break your bones, but it breaks your will. It doesn't bind your arms, but it binds your confidence. It keeps you locked in place even though the prison door is wide open. And what's even more dangerous about doubt is that it often disguises itself as logic. It pretends to be wisdom. It shows up dressed in the voice of reason, saying things like, "Be careful, wait until it's perfect, don't get your hopes up." But what it's really saying, underneath all that is, "You're not enough." It's trying to protect you from disappointment, but in doing so, it robs you of destiny. And if you listen to doubt long enough, it won't just steal your dream. It will convince you that you never had one to begin with. That's why you must learn how to speak back to doubt. You can't just sit there and entertain it. Doubt is not a guest you let in to talk things over. Doubt is an invader. It must be confronted. It must be challenged. Because when you don't deal with doubt, you end up overthinking every move, questioning every gift, rejecting every opportunity, and shrinking every vision. You will sit on ideas until they die. You will avoid risk until your life becomes a routine of regret. But hear me, faith in yourself mobilizes. Faith gets you moving. It activates you. It doesn't mean you're certain of every outcome. It just means you're certain that you were created to grow, to try, to learn, to rise. Faith in yourself says, "I may not have all the answers, but I believe I've got what it takes to figure it out." Faith says, "I may fall, but I won't stay down." Faith doesn't wait for everything to be perfect. Faith builds while the storm is raging. Faith steps out while fear is still speaking. You see, the difference between people who stay stuck and people who soar is not just talent. It's trust. Not trust in systems, not trust in applause. Trust in themselves. They believe in what's inside of them. They believe that what they carry is valuable, that their voice matters, that their presence changes the room, and that belief becomes fuel. It becomes energy. It becomes boldness. It gives them the courage to try what others avoid, to walk where others freeze, to leap where others crawl. If doubt is a chain, then faith is a key. It unlocks the version of you that you've buried under fear. It brings to life the dreams you've silenced because of past pain. Faith doesn't need the world to approve of you. It needs you to approve of you. Because until you believe you're worth it, you'll keep sabotaging your own blessings. You'll keep turning down invitations. You'll keep making yourself small so that others won't feel uncomfortable. And I want to tell somebody today, you don't need to apologize for believing in yourself. You don't need to hide your brilliance, dim your light, or second guess your place. God didn't create you to cower. He didn't design you to barely exist. He placed greatness in you, but it won't move until you move. It won't rise until you rise. It won't shout until you believe it's okay to speak. Let's be clear. Faith in yourself doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you trust the process. It means you trust your ability to grow, to adapt, to overcome. It means you trust that even if you get knocked down, you've got what it takes to get back up. It means you trust that your failures are not fatal, and your setbacks are setups for strength. So many people are waiting for clarity, but clarity comes after movement. You won't discover what's inside of you by sitting still and doubting. You discover it by stepping out and building, by stretching, by believing, by acting on what you've been given. And as you move, your confidence grows. As you try, your belief deepens. Faith multiplies the moment you give it something to work with. Don't let your mind become a museum of untried dreams. Don't let your life become a reflection of what you almost did. Don't let doubt rob you of the opportunity to see what could have Ben, if you had just said yes to yourself, you owe it to the gift inside of you. You owe it to your future. You owe it to the people you're called to reach, to help, to lead, to heal. So many people are sitting in frustration, waiting for something magical to happen. They say things like, if I had more money, I would start. If I had the right connections, I would move. If I just had the perfect conditions, I'd take the leap. And so they wait, and wait, and wait. They wait for confirmation. They wait for applause. They wait for validation. But let me tell you something that will shatter your excuses and awaken your potential. You are already equipped. You've been looking outside for what God already put inside. You've been searching for tools while the toolbox is sitting inside your soul. You've been praying for signs while the answers are hidden in your DNA, in your talents, in your instincts, in your experiences. Everything you need to begin the journey, you already have. You don't have to be perfect to start. You don't have to have every piece of the puzzle figured out. You just have to trust that what God has placed in your hands is enough for this season. You keep saying, I'm not ready. But God says, I have already prepared you. Not for perfection, but for progress. Not for ease, but for purpose. You've got something in you right now that's being underused, overlooked, underestimated, even by you. Look at Moses. When God called him to lead a nation out of slavery, he responded with doubt. He said, but I can't speak well. What if they don't believe me? And what did God say? He didn't give him a new tool, a new weapon, or a new skill. God said, what's that in your hand? A simple rod, a shepherd's staff. That same rod turned into a snake. That same rod parted the Red Sea. That same rod was already in his hand, and he didn't even realize its power. How many things in your life have you been overlooking because they seem too ordinary? Your voice, your story, your upbringing, that job you hate, that mistake you made, all of it can become equipment in the hands of purpose. Stop waiting for something greater to arrive and start recognizing the greatness that's already present. The truth is, most people don't have a resource problem. They have a recognition problem. It's not that you don't have what it takes. It's that you haven't taken inventory of what's already within you. You haven't slowed down long enough to see your own strength. You haven't been still enough to appreciate your own resilience. You've been comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, not realizing that they succeeded because they worked what they had. David didn't need Saul's armor to defeat Goliath. He used what he knew, a sling and a stone, that's it. No sword, no shield, just 5 smooth stones and faith in what he'd practiced in the wilderness. Don't despise your training ground. Don't overlook your humble beginnings. Don't think that because it's not shiny, it's not sacred. Some of the most powerful tools come in the simplest forms, but the world will tell you the opposite. The world will tell you that you need more, that you need to look like them, sound like them, move like them. The world will make you feel like you're always one step behind, but that's a lie, because purpose is never found in imitation. It's found in authenticity, and your authenticity is your equipment. What makes you different is not a defect. It's a divine design. You've been wired for something specific. The way your mind works, the way your heart feels, the way your spirit senses and sees things. None of that is random. All of it is intentional. You've been equipped with compassion so you can lead people gently. You've been equipped with creativity so you can solve problems no one else can. You've been equipped with pain, not to hurt you forever, but to give you wisdom others don't have. Even your scars carry purpose. And let me tell you, there will always be someone with more experience. There will always be someone with more followers, more credentials, more polish, but that doesn't disqualify you. It reminds you that you have something unique to offer. Nobody else can be you, and when you finally stop waiting for something else, someone else, some perfect time, and start using what's already in your hand, that's when momentum shows up. That's when doors open. That's when things start to shift, and yes, you'll have to grow. Yes, you'll need to learn more, stretch more, develop further, but you don't start with the harvest. You start with the seed, and you already have the seed, so plant it, water it, protect it, believe in it. Don't keep waiting for a sign in the sky when God already gave you breathe in your body, vision in your heart, and power in your spirit. Words carry weight. Words shape worlds. Long before something shows up in your life, it shows up in your language. What you speak reveals what you believe, and what you believe eventually becomes what you build. Too many people are living in environments created by their own negative confessions. They're not trapped by enemies on the outside. They're trapped by the conversations they've been having with themselves. You see, your words are not just sound, they are structure. Every time you speak, you're laying down a foundation, and over time, that foundation becomes a home your future has to live in. So let me ask you, what kind of house are your words building? Are you building a prison of fear or a palace of faith? Are you building walls of insecurity or windows of opportunity? Because the atmosphere you speak is the atmosphere you live in. Too many of us are speaking limitations over our lives without even realizing it. We say things like, "I'll never be good enough. This is just the way life is for people like me. Nothing ever works out for me." And those aren't just throwaway statements. No, those are declarations. And when you say them long enough, you don't just hear them. You start to believe them, and what you believe, you obey. So even when the opportunity shows up, you won't take it. Even when the door opens, you'll back away. Even when help arrives, you'll say, "I don't deserve it." This is why you must be careful how you talk to yourself. The voice you hear the most is your own, and some of you are being bullied daily. Not by other people, but by your own mouth. You are tearing down your own confidence. You are insulting your own gift. You are cursing your own future. Not with witchcraft, not with sorcery, but with your speech. But I want to challenge you to make a shift, a holy shift, a radical shift. I want you to stop speaking death over your destiny and start speaking life over your possibilities. Speak life over your mind, even if it's still battling confusion. Speak life over your body, even if it's still in pain. Speak life over your goals, even if they feel out of reach. Because the power of life and death is not in the hands of your haters. It's not in the economy. It's not in your boss. It's in your tongue. When you speak life, you activate faith. And when faith is activated, mountains move, seas part, chains break, ideas come, energy rises. Because faith is the language of heaven, and life responds to those who speak like they belong in the future they desire. Now, don't get it twisted. Speaking life doesn't mean ignoring the facts. It doesn't mean denying the pain or pretending everything is perfect. No, no. It means choosing to prophesy to your future even while you're standing in the middle of your problem. It means saying, "I know what it looks like, but I also know what God said." It means saying, "I may not see it yet, but I'm still going to declare it because my words are not controlled by my situation. They are controlled by my revelation." You've got to learn how to talk to the storm without letting the storm change your voice. Don't let fear rewire your vocabulary. Don't let trauma become your language. Don't let disappointment teach you how to speak. Let faith do the talking. Let vision do the talking. Let purpose do the talking. Because when you keep speaking life, even in the face of loss, you remind your soul who's in charge. And listen to me, you don't have to wait until you feel strong to speak strong. Some of the most powerful declarations come from broken places. Some of the boldest affirmations rise up out of pain. That's what David did. He said, "Why are you cast down, O my soul? Hope in God." In other words, he was talking to himself, preaching to himself, and some of you need to do the same. You need to stop waiting for someone else to encourage you and learn how to encourage yourself. Wake up in the morning and declare, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." Look in the mirror and say, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Go into your job and remind yourself, "I am not here by accident. I am an asset, not a liability." You've got to speak it until your soul aligns. Speak it until your feet move. Speak it until your atmosphere changes. You don't need the whole crowd to clap for you. You need your own mouth to agree with your future. You don't need everyone to see your worth. You need your words to reflect your worth, because your mouth is a magnet. It attracts what you affirm, and when you keep saying, "I am ready, I am able, I am called, I am equipped," Doors begin to open that were once shut tight. Not because the door changed, but because you did. So I dare you. Starting today, speak life, speak vision, speak power, speak identity, speak direction, and don't just speak it once. Speak it daily. Speak it when you're winning and speak it when you're weary. Speak it in public and whisper it in private. Because life listens to those who refuse to agree with limits and choose to align with purpose. You have the authority, you have the power, now use your voice. And build your future with your words. So now, after everything you've heard, after the truth has been laid bare and the mirror of your soul has been turned inward, what will you do with it? Will you continue waiting for permission to be great? Will you keep bowing to doubt, surrendering to fear, and talking yourself out of your own breakthrough? Or will you rise? Because I came to tell you, it starts with you. Not your surroundings, not your bank account, not your past, not your circle. You, if you want to change your life, you must believe in yourself, not halfway, not occasionally, not only when things are good. You must believe when it's dark, when it's lonely, when no one claps, when the door's close. You must believe in your mind, because that's the first battlefield. You must believe in your voice, because your words carry life or death. You must believe in what's already in your hand, because you've been equipped. You must reject doubt, because it will keep you stuck while the world moves forward. And you must speak life, because your language is building your legacy. Let today be the day you shift. Let this moment be the one where something inside you ignites and says, no more playing small, no more shrinking back, no more waiting. This is your time, this is your calling, this is your assignment, and you don't need anything else to begin. Just your belief. Believe in yourself until the world can't ignore you. Believe until your steps align with your purpose. Believe until your gifts make room for you. Believe until your reflection starts looking like your revelation, because when you believe, deeply, truly, fiercely, you become unstoppable. Now go, stand up, walk boldly, speak loudly, move with faith, because you are not waiting on destiny. Destiny is waiting on you, and it all begins when you make one decision that will change everything.